Just trying to switch it around a little bit so you can see my whatever face. I just got finished doing a drive for about 40 minutes and I just decided I can't sleep yet. So I figured I'd just get on and start talking about anything, whatever. So I don't know how long it's been since there's been a Halloween on a Friday. It's it feels like it's been years. I feel like most years it's like a Monday or a Tuesday or a Thursday or Saturday. It feels like it's been several years since it's actually been Halloween on a Friday. And I was actually surprised at how late people were out trick or treating tonight when I was doing deliveries. I mean, I worked till 8:15 local time, and I can't believe, that people were still out trick or treating at like 8:15 at night. I mean, it's 45, maybe 50 degrees out here. I don't even know if it's that warm, and it's raining outside. So who actually wants to be trick or treating when it's 45 degrees and it's rainy and wet and dark? It just seems like it defies logic. Why would you do that? But you know what? I mean, it's probably one of the few times these kids get candy. So, you know what? Go ahead. I mean, by all means, you should probably do that. I was trying to think of all the places that I probably would not want to try and go get Halloween candy at. Now, in my area, there are a ton of these nice little developments up on hills, and sometimes you have to go down hills to get to some of these houses. And I was thinking, do kids really want to? I mean, kids want, for trick or treating, kids want an easy target. They want something right off the road. They don't want to have to go down a hill. Hi there. I'm just going to pull up my thing a little bit so I can see things. Well, hello there. Um, I was just thinking of all these places that I would want to try and do trick or treating at. I mean, kids want an easy house to get to. They don't want to have to walk too far off the road. They want to get like 3 or 4 or 5 steps and be able to say trick or treat, get their stuff, and leave. They don't want to have to go down a hill, down a gravel driveway. They don't want to have to go down a long driveway. They don't want long, complicated stairwells. They just want their candy, and it's 8:30 at night. At this point, I'm trying to think when the last time I trick or treated was. I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, who wants to deal with a complicated stairwell when you're like 6? And you're having to negotiate a costume and everything? I mean, who wants to do that? You know, let's just make it easy for the kids, give them an easy, stair to go up, you know, an easy walkway to get to the house. I mean, that who wants to like go into a development like a fenced development for candy, or a dead end road in the dark? I mean, I was thinking about these things when I was out doing deliveries tonight, and I was thinking about all these different places that I've delivered to that there's no way, there's absolutely no way that I would want to, trick or treat in some of these places. I mean, there's no overhead street lights. There's long driveways, these cul-de-sacs that run for a mile. I mean, who wants to do that? And hello there. Um, but who would want to do that? But I'm trying to think, when I was a kid, trick or treating, very easy. Just we had very simple streets in my neighborhood. We went up one, we went down one, we went up one, we went down one. I mean, we probably covered 100 houses in like 5 streets. We got our candy and we were good. We only had to go 4 blocks. Did not have to go very far, and we got a haul. Yeah. And I don't know if I would have gone out in the rain to do trick or treating like some of these kids I saw tonight. I mean, it was wet outside, really wet. I'm wondering how like their costumes survived. I'm sure they're waterproof. I don't know. I don't know what places like Spirit sell. I don't know if they're waterproof. No clue. Um, but I mean, I was surprised at how late they were out. Maybe because it was Friday. That could be the only reason I could think of that. Kids would be outside is till like 8:30 at night. I would think that most parents would want to at 4:30 or 5, start at 4:30, end at like 6 o'clock, and be home, have dinner, and go through their candy haul. I would not want to be running around doing trick or treating at 8:30 at night. I mean, that's like bar time. Why am I streaming from my car? Well, I just got finished back from a 45-minute drive, um, and I stopped by the gym I went to use their Wi-Fi, and I realized I couldn't sleep yet, so I just stopped by the nearest parking lot to do a quick live on here because I wasn't ready to go home. And so I just found a lit parking lot. I have a nice robust data plan, and I just have that for my own reasons. I like having, especially because I drive a lot, I don't have easy access to Wi-Fi unless I'm going to a grocery store or something like that, or the gym I belong to. So I keep a very large data plan that I pay through the nose for. But this is why I'm streaming from the car. I mean, I'm not tired yet, and that's part of it. I mean, I'm not tired yet. I can't sleep, and it's 12:30 local time here, and I can't sleep. And I'm supposed to work in 7 hours. So I just thought maybe I could talk myself out, in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever, and be done. So that's why. But I'm trying to think of the last time I trick or treated. What? It was, I mean, I couldn't have been more than 11. I'm trying to think of how old the kids were that I saw. Of course, I couldn't really see them because it was dark outside. So I had to negotiate these side streets to try and get to where I was going and make sure that I wasn't going to run over any kids, while I was driving around. Um, but I don't know if I don't know if I'd want to go out that late at night. I mean, that's almost kind of getting into the bar time, when, whatever local bar you probably have, it's probably running some best costume thing. Appreciate that. Um, you know, where they're having the best costume night. But I'm not sure I'd even want to do that when it's raining outside. I mean, who wants to, you know, I mean, it's one thing to, have a good time at a bar and, have some fun with your costume and everything. But, you can't do that if you're dealing with kids. But anyways, I've been actually trying to cut my hours back because I'm actually experimenting with something, and it's actually something I'm trying to work on a video on. Is that I'm looking to cut my hours down from 63 hours a week to 50 hours a week because I only want to work the times where I'm busy. I don't want to be available when I have downtime. And I found that when I was working that 63-hour week, I had 2 hours 2 hours a day of downtime minimum. And it's too much. It's just too much. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it back to about 50 hours, and I think I can do that without having to make any less money. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking all that downtime and I'm turning it into, um, you know, stuff I can spend more time doing my errands. I can do some work on YouTube content. I'm doing some ASMR stuff. Um, I'm always coming up with little stuff because the majority of the stuff, well, I won't say the majority anymore. I'd say a lot of the stuff that I'm working on for my channel is either ASMR stuff or stuff with gig economy driving, because I've done that for like 12 years, but I've been delivering for 30. So I mean, I started delivering when I was 18 years old. I mean, I did, Pizza Hut as my first job. Um, then I started running my own delivery business at 27. Did that for 13 years. And then I got out of that and started doing all the gig economy stuff. I did Postmates to start. I did Caviar to start. I did lost luggage returns. I did lab deliveries. I mean, medical courier work. And then kind of got into DoorDash by accident because Caviar got bought out by DoorDash. So I ended up doing DoorDash. Well, hello there. So I don't know. I think delivery's always kind of been in my blood. I mean, I've driven so much. I mean, I don't think people outside of the US would comprehend that I've actually driven over 2 million miles in my delivery career. And that's just I'm in one state in the US and I've been able to drive 2 million miles over 30 years. I mean, if I looked at my state and crisscrossed, if I figured out how many times I've crisscrossed back and forth between one side of the state to the other, it'd probably be easily 5,000 times. I mean, that's how much I've driven. It's the equivalent of driving back and forth from, and you know what? There are times where road rage kind of kicks in, because especially with people that can't drive. The bad thing about today is that everybody can be a delivery driver, which is great, but not everybody should be one. I mean, just because you have a car and a phone does not make you a driver. I'm sorry. There are so many crappy drivers out there. And when it's raining outside like it did today, I mean, it's even worse, because then you have people that are already driving 5 miles per hour under the speed limit, and they're going 10 miles per hour under the speed limit. I mean, I could have probably pushed their car faster than they were going. It's so awful. I mean, I come from a different time of delivery, because before there were phones and I had to use maps and I had to know my route before I left wherever I was going, because when I started doing deliveries, I didn't have a GPS. I don't even know if GPSs existed when I started driving. I mean, I'm trying to think. Probably not. but I think they actually started coming into um, bigger use when I started my delivery business. Um, God, 25 years ago. I mean, I think that's about the time I started, you know, getting some use out of um, GPSs and cell phones. So dramatically different. I'm just thinking about, you know, how many times my cell phone cut out as a cop in. You're in the Dalles, Oregon? The Oregon people are terrible at driving. Are terrible at driving to work without being in it. Oh, that goes for every state. You know, these people get, you know, all crazy, you know, they leave too late for work, or they forget where they're at, or they realize they need a coffee before they get to work, and they drive in and out of lanes, and they cut in front of you, and then they hit the brakes because they forget they were going, and uh, it's it's a disaster. And that's not just, in the morning. It's also when people are getting off work, when school buses, come out and about like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, you're having to navigate all that, and I like it. That's why sometimes I just like delivering better in the summertime, because I don't have to deal with school buses. They can go into cold storage for about 3 months. So that makes me very happy. And that's why when it rains here, it's just worse. Rainy drivers are the worst. See, yesterday I had to pull someone over in front of this little girl who dressed up for school. She was a ghost, and I had to pull someone over right at her bus stop. That's weird. I mean, it stinks. You know, gave her a sticker. Hey, you know what? Any port in a storm. I mean, no one likes to get pulled over, but hey, you know what? Got this sticker for you. Happy Halloween, everybody. I don't even know if you can hear it. I mean, it's raining rather nicely out here. Um, man. But yeah, I gotta work in 7 hours, and I can't sleep. And I figured maybe I'd just wear myself out on here and talk about and blather about nothing, and maybe eventually I get tired enough to want to, start yawning and then go in and go sleep. But I can't do it yet. I mean, I'm just not in the right frame of mind for it. And well, since I'm adjusting my hours down from 63 to 50, I'm really changing my schedule. Well, all right. Have a good night. Thank you. I I won't be an idiot. Don't worry. I've been driving for 30 years. It's not me being driving out there that I have to worry about. It's all the other people that I have to worry about. Uh, man, I feel like I have to watch out for me and them. So, but since I'm trying to cut my hours back, I'm working 3 or 4 hours Monday through, and I work every day. I work 7 days a week, and that's because I have this major debt I got to take care of. So it's working all the time. So I work a few hours each day, Monday through Thursday, and then I work 12-hour shifts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I work, well, today I got a late start. I work basically from 8 to 8, and then tomorrow I scheduled myself from 7:30 to 7:30, and that's what I'm gonna work on Sunday. Gonna keep track of, some football scores. I'm gonna basically do what I always do when I'm driving around. It's either podcasts, it's music, or it's listening to on the weekends. It's listening to whatever live college football is going on that I'm interested in. And I'm lucky because the sports station here has usually multiple games going on, so I could run the whole day, and I probably could listen to a game every minute of every bit of my shift. So stay between the man and the mustard. Ha 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 ha. Um, and when I'm driving around, I actually, before I even start my shift, I will go to the store and I will just buy the stuff for the day. I don't stop for lunch. I have all my drinks with me. I bought a box of energy drinks for like $15, and it had like 15 of them, because I don't pay $3.50 for an energy drink. That's a waste of money. I paid 99 cents for mine. And it's a brand. I mean, it's a brand name. It's not, some brand I've never heard of. So, but I carry all my food with me. I'll eat before I start my shift, and then I'll eat right after my shift ends, and I'll just have fluids throughout the rest of the day, which means that I'm taking pee breaks all the time. I mean, usually in a 12-hour shift, I'll probably take. I get it. Thank you very much. I'm probably taking 5 or 6 pee breaks throughout my 12-hour shift. And tomorrow, that shift's probably going to look like a lot of, let's see. Well, good for you. I mean, if you want to switch over, by all means, I don't care. I'm just here to chat until I kind of chat myself out. So I could be blathering about anything. I mean, right now I'm just talking about work, whether it's interesting or not interesting to anybody. So tomorrow it's going to be probably a lot of food orders more than grocery orders. Usually grocery orders come in more on Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and like Wednesday. Usually those are the busiest days to get, shopping orders. The rest of the time it's just random food orders, with whatever. And you can always kind of tell, what kind of, how fit your customers are by what they order. Because the area that I work in, it's a very expensive area. Now, if I could not, I mean, I can't rent something here. It's too expensive. It's okay. Do what you got to do. You gotta, you gotta do what you gotta do. Somebody's saying they have to leave for work, but I get it. We all work different hours. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. We all work different hours around here. I'm always, and that's something that's always kind of surprised me, because I put out a bunch of YouTube shorts and clips and stuff. And when I look at who's listening to my stuff, I'm always surprised. I put a little ASMR clip out, I think 3 or 4 days ago, and I was looking at who's listening. Number 1, Japan. People from Japan are listening to my silly ASMRs. It's 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 the wildest thing. It's like, what was it? Japan, US, in Indonesia, and Kazakhstan. I couldn't even tell you where Kazakhstan is. But those are the people that were listening to my ASMRs. I mean, when I have certain content, it's like the US is number one on the watch sheet. And it's usually the ones that have the US in the lead. It's usually US, UK, India, Japan, and Australia. But these ASMRs, I mean, when I first saw that, I mean, I'm trying to picture out, when I'm looking at the numbers, I'm trying to picture at what time these people are listening to this stuff, because I believe they're somewhere between 16 and 18 hours ahead of me. And I always try and picture what the heck these people are doing while they're listening to my ASMRs. And I also do some driving videos. I do live drives about once or twice a week. I'll go out for about anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half, and I'll just drive around. Sometimes I'll go into areas where it's a lot of curves and stuff, and sometimes I'll go where there's a lot of straightaways. I mean, tonight I actually did a live drive right after work, and um, I put a little notation in it. It said what was it? Cars, lights, rain. That's pretty much what you were going to see tonight. And that is the truth, I mean, all you saw were my headlights, oncoming cars, lights on the, lights on the road, and the sounds of my wipers clearing off rain off my windshield. So I mean, I try and change things up a little bit, try and change where I go when I go on these drives. But I like doing that. It's the kind of thing that I used to do when I was a kid. Or not a kid, but when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I used to um, go out, after work when it would be like midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I would have a friend of mine come with me, and I would just drive for an hour or two. I'd get off work and I'd just drive for an hour or two. So it'd be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just out driving wherever. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just driving wherever. And, I did that for years, back in the days when, I don't know. I was just thinking, it was either, take these little road trips or go to places like Denny's. I mean, I don't even know how many 24-hour places there are left, in the country. I have no idea. Maybe a Waffle House. I haven't even been to a Waffle House, so I don't even know. But I remember when, we'd have all sorts of friends, you know. Yes, I know. That is my little tick. I get it. Um, Somebody's commenting on the fact that I say a lot. It's okay. But I remember, going to Denny's late at night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, with friends, get off work, and we just go hang out for an hour, eat dumb hash browns or a Grand Slam or something like that. But I can't even think about doing that anymore. I don't even know if Denny's is even open 24 hours anymore. I mean, it's been so long since I've been to a Denny's or any diner for that matter. It's such a different time. I think COVID really just messed everything up. What's my opinion on Five Guys? I love the fries. Fries are good. I've had the grilled cheese there, like that. I've never had a burger from there. I've never, yeah, I've never had a burger from there. Maybe I should have a burger from there. But this does bring out something else up because I do a lot of pickup orders at places like McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Wendy's, and stuff like that. How expensive the combos are now. What was it? 12, 13, 14, $15 for a combo. And what's considered a value meal anymore, it's like what, $3 for an order of fries or a couple of tacos for $2.99. Nothing's a dollar anymore. You can't get a dollar anywhere on any valued meal anywhere. It starts at $2 or $3 anymore. But to think that, if you go to someplace like, I don't know, if you go to Jack in the Box and you're getting like I don't know, I forget what the name of the sandwiches are, like a sourdough, bacon, whatever. You're probably talking $15 if you want to get a fries and a drink with it, at least. And that's just getting fast food. Imagine just a restaurant anymore. I had somebody tell me that it was like a cashier, and they told me they got a meal from Olive Garden, and they got it to go. They got DoorDash, and between the entree and an appetizer and the delivery fee, that it came to $70. And I'm thinking, what would you order at Olive Garden that would cost you $70 with a delivery charge and a tip? It's too much. I mean, I think he's probably was overblowing it just a little bit. But it's probably not that far overblown. I mean, if you're getting, and I probably would. I mean, if you're getting a fried rice from a Chinese place, it's probably $18 plus tax plus delivery. You're probably at $35 for a thing of fried rice. I don't know how people, because I've had people that have ordered multiple times in a day, that have ordered 3 or 4 times in a day. I should know because I delivered to this person like at least 2 times out of the 4. I don't know how somebody could afford to have, DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats 4 times in a day. I mean, you're easily into a couple $100. I mean, if you ordered DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats 4 times in a day, it has to be like $150 to $200. It'd have to be. You have to be making good money, or you're either so sick or you just want to be so lazy that you're just going to order everything out. I mean, I don't care. You order whatever you want, but I don't know. If I was the person, I'd almost get sick and tired of ordering out, multiple times in a day. You might get used to seeing the same guy come and drop off your stuff. It might just be too much. I'm in the US. I'm always surprised. Like I said, I'm very surprised especially at this hour. I'm not sure that I would expect too many in the US to be up at this hour. I mean, if you're on the East Coast, you're at like 3:30 in the morning right now, or 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, if you're in Australia, it's probably the equivalent to Japan, where it's probably like 16 hours difference. So right now it's probably about 4 in the afternoon, 2 to 4 in the afternoon. you know, in places like New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Taiwan. It's it's just weird to think that it's 12:30 here, and somewhere else it's 4 p.m. It's just weird to think about. When I said that, I was just thinking about an old Alan Jackson song where he said it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's see, in Asia it's 1 p.m. I'd buy that. Let's see. Let's see. World and internet is amazing. Yes, it very much is. I'd love to know what areas of the world still don't have things like this. Where you could, where you could actually have live chat with somebody from, across the globe. How much of the world does not have internet anymore? I think with things like Starlink now, I would think that's almost nowhere. I would think that pretty much anywhere in the world could be reached as long as you have, the ability to power whatever portable hotspot or whatever it is you use to feed the internet. I was just thinking about the first time I had a cell phone, and that was probably in 2000. It was an old flip phone, and internet then was just horrific. I traveled down the West Coast, and it cut out so many times. I couldn't believe it, and it was way more expensive. You didn't have you didn't have unlimited data plans. You didn't have unlimited phone plans or unlimited, text and what was it and text plans. Then maybe you had 1,000 minutes a month. Now, could you imagine somebody having only 1,000 minutes a month of anything, of whether it's phone calls or live streams or whatever? See, there are some places where internet is still not available, I'm sure. Um, it's but thinking about the times, it's like when, you had minutes, you had a minute limit. You had 500 minutes or 1,000 minutes or 3,000 minutes. None of this unlimited stuff like now. Now you can pretty much get unlimited plans all over the place. You can get unlimited high speed, although I'm I have a lot. For someone who on a cell phone plan, I even have a lot. I have 100 gigabytes on my plan. And I find that every time I do one of these 1 hour live sessions, whether I'm doing a drive or a chat or whatever, that takes up 1.5 gigabytes of my data every time I do it. So if I did this every day of the month, it would eat up half my high speed. I have an unlimited data plan, but after 100, and anybody knows this, when you have a limit, that means that you're going to get throttled back. Where your 10 megabyte download speed is going to be like, it's going to feel like a turtle versus a rabbit. It's going to feel so slow. It's just going to be radically different. But yeah, I'm so glad that those days are far in the past, where connections are better wherever you go. I imagine that road trips now for people are a lot easier. Well, that's good. Appreciate that. Somebody said my talking feels relaxing. I don't think so because, how would I know? I have to take somebody else's word for it that my talking is relaxing. So I will take your word for it and say thank you. Appreciate that. But now 25 years later in 2025, people taking road trips even across the US, I can't imagine too many places where you couldn't get an internet connection. And I was driving from the state of Washington down to San Diego in California. And I mean, it probably cut out a couple dozen times 25 years ago. Yeah, I think road trips were a lot more scary then than now. I could I couldn't even imagine, you know, I mean I mean, looking at things now versus things 25 years ago, it's you almost feel like a Neanderthal in a way, because we had payphones then. No, I mean, the only time you see a payphone now is in a museum. There's also a small town here that has like an old school payphone. It doesn't work. They just keep it as like a museum relic. I'm wondering how many people even use faxes now. I mean, even that is probably, going away. And I remember because I was making some copies at the local FedEx here, and I was amazed at how much they wanted to actually do a fax. I looked for giggles. They wanted $2.49 a page. So if you had a 10-page document, you're spending $25. I mean, for that, I mean, now you can just do a PDF and just send it through the internet. Much easier and much cheaper. But I guess there's still people that want to use faxes. I remember when I first started my delivery business, that would be how I would get on-demand delivery offers. How's the vibe of Halloween here? I don't know. A lot of kids, a lot of kids running around, a lot of parents, running around with their kids, trying not to run into kids while I'm driving around. That's about what it feels like the vibe was today. And it didn't help that it rained for most of the evening, probably from like 5:30 to 8 here locally. It was raining. It was so funny watching people out with umbrellas going trick or treating. It's just a weird look to see somebody using umbrellas while trick or treating. Whatever. Um, I mean, overall, I think it's just weird to have Halloween on a Friday anyway. I was going to look up that statistic before I got on here just to see when the last time a Halloween was on a Friday. I mean, it feels like it's been years. I mean, Halloween almost seems like, I mean, a Friday night Halloween almost seems like it's more for adults. I am not a loser. Okay. I don't hear what everyone is saying. Ha ha, very funny. I've been called worse, believe me. I have been the weird kid in my world for probably 30 years. I mean, and I was married. So, I mean, I've been weird probably since I was 11 years old. I had a very tough high school, and the problem is that I grew up in a smaller town. When you grow up in a smaller town and a smaller high school, that means if one person thinks you're weird, the whole school will know about it in an hour or two. pre-internet. Um, but yeah, I've been used to being the weird guy. I mean, even when I was married, I still felt weird. Yeah, I've been divorced now for 6 years now, and lucky me, I get to pay alimony, folks. Hope none of you ever have to pay alimony. Get a prenup. If you're not married, get a prenup. Work all that crap out before you get married, because it's definitely costing me a few bucks to be divorced. But I'll tell you, much rather be divorced. I'm sorry. It wasn't a good situation. I mean, and it's not like she was a bad person, but it was constant nagging. I walk in the door after working 10 or 11 hours, and she's just hitting me with problems as soon as I walk in the door. And it just became too much. Be careful who you marry. I mean, what can I say? Be careful. I mean, and I know these days, I think the statistics say that people are probably getting married about 33% less now than they did even 5 or 10 years ago, which makes sense. They're either waiting longer to get married, or they're just not getting married at all. They're trying to pursue careers, whatever you're doing. I would get it. I'm not sure that I would ever get married again. Although, I mean, who knows? Maybe things will change. I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, I'm very sour to the idea of getting married. I would love to have another relationship again. I mean, and I'm starting to get flirted with, and I hate that because when you're working and you're trying to pay off bills and you have these other things going on, how could you really devote your time to somebody when you got all these things you're trying to do? It's not fair, to them or to me. But it is lonely. I mean, it is the bad thing about being divorced. Even though I wasn't a big fan of how I would, of everything that happened, you learn that, you want to have connection with somebody, anybody. I had a few friends growing up, and even that kind of went away. It always seemed like there was one thing that would happen or another that would just ruin things. What was the hardest part is that, and I'm sure that some of you have experienced this, maybe you've been on the giving end, maybe you've been on the getting end of this, but I was so used to doing things for other people. I would be nice. I would, give my time. I'd help somebody move, or I would give somebody money or whatever. You're right. I have the internet. So yes, I don't worry quite so much. Speaking of that, I use AI a bunch. I I think since I've discovered AI, I make a fair amount. I mean, I make a fair amount. But I'm working on stuff. I'm working on a bunch of different ideas. So I'm working on some ASMR stuff. I got a lavalier mic, and I've been messing around with that. I have a bunch of those on my channel. Um, I'm doing some kind of clips, like deals clips, because I try and find deals for my customers while I'm out shopping. Like if I happen to see a buy two, get two free, I'll notify a customer that only ordered two that they can just get another two for free, or maybe they can get something for cheaper, and I'm doing stuff like that for customers. And I'm talking about a lot of things that are gig economy related, because 7 years ago, I decided to just start buying cheap cars to do deliveries. I don't spend more than $2,500 on cars for deliveries. I haven't on any of the cars I've bought in the last 7 years. I haven't spent more than $2,500, and they'll last anywhere between 15 and 30,000 miles, and I'll just go on to the next one. In fact, I'm kind of in that stage with my current car. I mean, my current car I bought for under $1,800. I've gotten 14,000 miles. Well, not 14,000, about 13,500 miles out of it. It's been a great car. It was a very unexpected car to be able to get for such a good price. But anyways, I've been, when somebody, kind of was joking around, on here, it's like, I'm used to being weird. I've been the weird guy forever. The funny thing is that once I started kind of letting that stuff go, and that took me a long time. It took me a long time to let all that stuff go. I'm working on all that stuff. I'm working on a bunch of things. Was it solitude is the best friend of man? Indeed. Sometimes I'm not weird. Well, I don't care if I am. Yeah, and honestly, you kind of know in some ways when you're weird or not. And I got to a point where I just started accepting that it's in my nature. It's who I am. It's part of, and I have ADHD. It's probably why I say that word, a lot. It's my little tick. So I haven't known officially that I've had ADD or ADHD, but you talk to me enough, I blather on a lot about a lot of different subjects, and you can kind of pick that up. Even when I'm doing shopping orders, you could probably tell how ADHD I get. It's kind of funny. Let's see. Bless you on your walk. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see. What is overrated? Woman. I don't know. Women are soft. I'm not sure what that means. I do think that if women were in the same feet as men, because we're scared out of our minds to talk to women, because we're so afraid of being rejected and, kind of feeling like we're emotionally tossed by the wayside. If a woman had to do the same thing to a guy, and guys treated women the same way that women treat men, it would be hard. It would be very hard. Let's see. Women lives on easy mode. Now, I was thinking about this when you say that. I was thinking about there's a lot of homeless people in a few cities over from where I am. And you don't see many women that are homeless. You see way more guys that are homeless, which means that even homeless women find places to stay way easier than guys. Hands down. So maybe at least from that point, it's easy mode. Let's see. Women got options even post marriage. Oh yeah. Up to a certain point. I think women use their looks up till probably late 30s, early 40s, and then when they have to kind of switch into a different mode when they get into their 40s. Because they don't have those superior looks to fall back on. And then, if they're not attached with somebody at that point, it's a tougher sled for women in their 40s, especially, I mean, that are single, that are divorced. It's a much different ball game. Um, let's see. Not everyone can digest the harsh reality. It's true. Not every not everybody is designed to, but it's not just women. Today, I don't think most 30 somethings, and I mean 30 and under people can really take reality. I mean, I think people that are older are kind of used to getting honest, blunt truth, and they can take it a little better. I think 30 and under kids are way more fragile, emotionally fragile. Let's see. Really like your honesty. Well, I'm old. I don't care. I mean, you get to a certain age, it's like you don't care anymore. I mean, when you just get to a point where it's like you don't even care what somebody thinks of you. I mean, somebody could call you a jerk. I mean, they can call you whatever, and it doesn't really matter. Eh, But, I just think that kids can't handle. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being a teacher to kids in a high school anymore. How do you deal with these middle school and high school kids anymore? It's I mean, you feel like you have to tiptoe through the tulips with them. It's like you can't say anything to offend somebody. Heaven forbid. Women don't. What's that? Pregnancy? What that is pregnancy? Family Guy versus South Park. I think I watched a little more Family Guy than I did South Park. These days, I don't have time to watch either one. It's basically now it's work, eating, showers, sleeping, YouTube videos, and checking a little bit of social media. I mean, that occupies my entire day. So let's see. It is strange to see that how when men have a high body count, it's considered as alpha. When women do it, they're seen at, let's see, double standards. Let's see, be the change you want to see in the world. You know what? It's funny somebody said that, be the change you want to see in the world. That's actually my philosophy when I'm working. You know, I I had somebody tell me today that I was very professional. And I asked them, well, what makes me professional? It's like, well, you actually come in decently dressed, because when I'm doing deliveries, it's either a polo shirt or a button down shirt and slacks, and that's what I wear when I do my deliveries. And I think if I look like that and people notice me like that as a driver, what are these other drivers wearing? If if I'm considered, professional for wearing, a polo shirt and slacks or khakis, what are these other drivers that are doing DoorDash and Instacart and Grubhub and Uber Eats? What are they wearing? Because obviously I stand out and I shouldn't stand out. I mean, I'm not the standard. I should be a standard. It's dramatically different. Marriage only benefits women these days. Well, I don't even know about that. I would be interesting to ask women that question. I think the best way for a woman to get through life is to marry when you're at your highest attractive point. You know, and that way, you know, you have somebody to grow old with that knows you for 30 years. And when you're 50 or 55 and you're a woman, and you'll have your man around. You don't want to have to be looking for a guy if you're a woman after probably age 45. It's tough sledding out there. I mean, women can do it easier than guys, and guys probably after the age of 30, have a tough time. Unless you have money or a great job, or you are, in the top 5% of being handsome, you are screwed if you're a guy trying to use dating apps. What do they say? It's like 10% of the guys on dating apps get 90% of the action. It's probably true. Let's see. There is a difference between overthinking and deep thinking. Yes, I agree with that. I found it a lot less now than I used to. I used to be a real overthinker. I always call it paralysis by analysis. That that it's tough to pull the trigger. This is what I joke around with about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs they don't care, about risk. They'll just go for it. They don't care. Let's see. Marriage only benefits women these days. Even prenups don't work out for men these days. Let's see. Talk about sexless marriages and alimony, child support. Oh, yes. That is the fun part about this, folks. I get to pay alimony. I am in the rarefied air that has to pay alimony, which is probably the equivalent of probably what any of you guys are probably paying for rent or a mortgage. And it may be more or less, but it's probably in the ballpark. We didn't have kids, thank goodness, because that would have just made, paying everything all that much more challenging. So, for those people that don't want to get married, I don't blame you in the least. If you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. I think if you don't want to get married, I totally get why. I mean, some of you probably see marriage as a construct. Some of you probably are going, I've seen my parents get divorced. Why would I get divorced? Or why would I get married when I've seen my parents get divorced? I've seen my friends get divorced. My dad has been divorced 3 times. Oh, and the funny part about that, 4th marriage, my 2nd grade teacher. Yeah. That was, that was so fun. She was one of my favorite teachers too. And she married my dad. And I have my sneaking suspicions that my dad, first of all, I appreciate somebody saying that. Yeah, marriage is the leading reason for divorce. Ain't that the truth? I always thought I would be the person to break the cycle, that's like my dad got divorced 3 times. And I'm thinking, okay, I won't get divorced 3 times. I got divorced once and I decided, forget this. I'm not doing this again. I don't care how hot the woman is. That I can't do that again. No way. Let's see. Yep. End the cycle. Yeah, exactly. End the cycle. Yeah. But you know what? I mean, if you're lucky enough to be able to find the right woman or man and you feel like you can really make it work, I mean, go for it. What do you got to lose? It's only life, right? Until the divorce happens. So, I think about, it's so funny thinking about the divorce too, because my dad divorced my mom after 30 years. I mean, can you believe that? Can you imagine being with somebody for 30 years and then all deciding, all of a sudden deciding, I've had enough. Okay, sign this. It's over. 30 years and it's over. What's so funny about that? That's almost kind of like how long my dad worked for his job. He worked the same job for 26 years. I don't know if anybody now would work a same job for 26 years. I can't imagine that the philosophy for people that in the workforce today is to work a job for 26 years. That is probably an anomaly these days. Let's see, marriage gets boring after a certain time, everything loses its initial charm. And I think about, let's see, it's I find now when you said minimalistic lifestyle, that's actually how I live now. I'm very minimalistic now. I don't have a lot of clothes. I have enough for 3 weeks at a time. I don't buy food for more than a day or two. I don't have a lot of stuff anymore. I mean, I've just kind of found that I don't need it. I don't use 90% of the things that I have. Let's see. Life is nothing but repetitive BS of some chores and errands. Well, it's funny because chores and errands are what I do to make my living. So that's a whole funny side thing. Let's see. Life gets boring and dull for sure after a certain age. Yeah, I agree. Women like flashy. No, I don't think it's women like flashy. I think sometimes women think they want a certain thing and they don't realize that it's the other thing that they need in their life. Yeah, because I still think there are good women out there. I just think there are less of them. And it's harder to find them. And I don't use the dating apps anymore. I mean, I haven't used a dating app in years. I've given up on that. Women prefer bad guys. No, the problem is that the bad guys are more confident than good guys. Good guys are scared out of their minds, and bad guys just have confidence oozing. It's the little phrasing. What is it? There's not much difference between confidence and arrogance. And that's kind of where these bad boys kind of sit, you know. They're, confident enough that's what I mean, this is why women like true crime stories, right? True crime, all these, it's all these I mean, it's their favorite thing. It's either the TV reality shows or it's all the podcasts like Serial, or was it True Crime Junkie or whatever. I mean, there's so many podcasts that kind of feed into these women that like these true crime. I don't know why they like this. I can't figure out why the heck women like these true crime things, but they do. Like, guys like a certain thing, women like a certain thing. I don't get it, but hey, you know what? That's what they have multiple shows for. Let's see. Modern women ruin dating. It's a good question. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's modern. It's maybe the parents of those women that probably ruin dating. So I'd say probably one generation before me, probably women that are 35 and younger, probably. Women like being groped. No, they don't. Okay, maybe there's a small exception. Women probably like to be groped, but only by guys they're attracted to. Otherwise, no. Parents are most selfish and evil creatures on the planet. I don't think all the way, but I think there are parents that want their kids to be like them. I very much think that my dad wanted me to be like him. My dad was I don't know how to describe it, but he was a very mechanical guy. He had the opportunity if he wanted to go to be a structural engineer out of high school, and he chose to just go straight into work. He didn't want to go to college. Um, but my dad has been a tinkerer my whole life. I mean, for as long as I've known him. To give you an idea, I haven't talked to my dad since the divorce. And that was, oh, good Lord, 26 years ago. I haven't talked to my dad since. My dad's in his 90s. I haven't talked to him since his 70s. Let's see. Leonardo DiCaprio, never been married. Probably a smart man. Adrian Brody, never. Oh, this is hilarious. This is the famous guys never married. Let's see. Smart people never marry or have kids. I don't know about that. Um, Men loneliness is real. Yes, but I think it's loneliness across the board. Yeah, it's nothing like it once was. I mean, there's less family connection. I think being separated by a computer screen or by a phone screen is makes things harder because you don't have that physical interaction with somebody. It's just different. It's just different. Let's see. What's wrong with being gay? Is that what that says? Well, my brother's gay, so I hope that there's nothing wrong with him being gay. And I have to say, I think my brother's been in a longer committed relationship than my dad, or pretty close. He's been with his partner for, oh, geez, I'm trying to think. I think I still had my business then. It has to be 30 years now. Um, so he's been with him a long time. What's so funny though is that he has a license concealed carry. Probably, I would probably dare to say one of the low percentage of gay men that probably has a concealed carry permit. And I've seen his gun. I saw his gun when he got it, you know, what, 20, 24 years ago. No, I am way up north and way to the west. So let's see. Noah was, oh, haha. Yeah, this might be true. Hello there. I don't talk to my dad. I was very if I let me kind of you want a quick explanation about how my dad went through his divorce. I'll give you a little quick once over and why I don't talk to my dad anymore. My dad, I think, was seeing another woman on the sly before the divorce. No, I'm not gay. I was married. I'm very much attracted to women. I just I've chosen not to date right now. I work too much. I have other thing that I'm working on. So I'm dealing with loneliness in the process while I'm trying to go through these things. Um, well, I'm just thinking about when you say getting emotional. Yeah, I thought about how, my dad was, dating his new wife on the sly while he was married to my current wife. And I think when he decided that he could, when my mom was getting more medically sick, that this was the time to strike and get out. And he basically put the divorce decree in front of her face and said, Sign this or you'll get nothing. I mean, it was such a load of crap. It was such a load of crap. I mean, say this much. I mean, he was an asshole how he did this. But he gave over half of his government pension and a certain amount of money every month and paid it until she died. Which she died about 15 years ago. No, okay. Before my dad, okay, so my dad was seeing his new wife on the sly while he was still married to his current wife. And after, when he decided he wanted to be with the new wife, he basically put a divorce decree in front of her and basically made her sign it. And I asked him, why would you do this? I was the only one that had any courage about asking him, why did you do this? And I haven't talked to him since. And I don't care. Honestly, I don't. That's a long time ago, and I have much better things to be worrying about. Let's see. I wouldn't judge my dad. Well, I judge people by their actions, and by what he did, that's enough for me. People, it's like dealing with used car salesmen. You can't believe what they say, believe in what they do. It's the same with dealing with government people. You can't believe what they're telling you. You have to believe in what the actions are. So what my dad did was was incredibly heinous. I mean, whatever. It's over. I mean, I haven't talked to him in whatever. I haven't talked to my brother in whatever because my brother is on my dad's side. And, that doesn't help. So let's see. So what was the last time I got laid? Oh, good question. Full-blown laid or just kind of messing around? I'd probably say laid probably 3 or 4 years. It's been a while. Unfortunately, I take care of myself, and I don't have to explain what that means. Let's see. Family's overrated? No, family's not overrated. The wrong family. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame. Let's see. If you don't care, talk to him. Bro, you doing? I don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, I've had to fend for myself my entire adult life, so that doesn't matter. Final Destination is a big time incel. No. I know some of the people I deal with that would probably be an incel. It's like, what am I doing? Well, let's see. Hello from Romania. Wow. It's so funny. I mean, it's so weird. All these different places from around the world. I mean, I've had people chat from Australia. Well, I think the only ones that really has that's revealed their location is the guy from Australia. Let's see. What's wrong with being incel? Let's see. Do I live in my car? I did for a long time. In fact, I have a little story about that too. And in fact, I have some clips on my channel about that. So here's what I told my wife when I left, and that was in, oh, good Lord, 2014, 2015. Yeah, I told her that I would rather live in my car than live with you. That's exactly what I told her. I left her with the car, and I walked 2.5 hours to the nearest bus terminal, went to a city that had a car rental, and that's where it started, and did that for years. So I mean, go to, if you go on Reddit at all, go on Urban Car Living. I mean, there are people in way worse situations than I ever had to deal with, and I mean, the things that they have to deal with. I mean, and I had to deal with some things. I remember one time, I guess I'll just keep going with this. I remember one time when I was sleeping in my car under an overpass, and I realized a very valuable lesson real quick. Some guy opened my door, and I said, "What the F are you doing?" And you could tell he was stoned, and he just closed the door. But he was a homeless guy. And I learned after that day, for all the time that I slept in the car, lock the door every damn time I stopped to sleep. Every time. And it's a very valuable lesson. I can't even imagine. I mean, it's one thing to live in your car. It's another whole thing to be actually homeless on the street. And I see them all the time, and it's sad because nobody knows how to help them. They spend billions of dollars all the time, and nobody's fixed the problem. I think the problems have been better fixed around the world than they are here. I don't know what it's like in Romania or Australia or whatever. Do people actually live in their car in these countries? No, I'm not going to talk to my dad. But I understand, I know what people say. It's like, you should talk to him before he dies, otherwise you'll regret it. He is now 93 years old now. I'm not in any mood to talk to him. Let's see. I hate noisy neighbors. I do too. I think we all hate noisy neighbors. And the one other thing about living in your car is that it's almost like being in the Truman Show, because everybody can see you, and then they have all their wonderful judgments about that. I am 52 years old. So let's see. Being old sucks. Yes. Actually, I mean, honestly, I feel better at 52 than I did at 18. I eat better now, way better now. I haven't had a soda in years. I have one energy drink that I actually dilute in one of these big gallon bottles, and that takes care of my caffeine for the day. I have fruit, I have yogurt, I have chicken. I eat way better. Well, I don't know if I look 30. I mean, thanks. I have no idea. I'm very active. My job is very active. So I do a lot of grocery shopping for people, which means that I am carrying stuff up and down stairs constantly. It's not uncommon to carry 2 or 3 bags up 4 flights of stairs, or in an apartment building down a long walkway. Does my dad try and talk to me? That is a very interesting question. No, but I get these random emails once a year saying happy birthday. It is, and that's all it says. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's so weird. That's all I get once a year. I get this random email. Happy birthday. Let's see. George Carlin, Norm Macdonald, couple of great comics. There's a few comics podcasts that I like. I like Mark Normand and just about everything he does. Tuesdays with Stories. Not so much as We Might Be Drunk one. My mom, she was a saint. It was a shame what happened to her. I mean, and this is another one of those dirty things that happens is that she was getting medically more sick, and to put her in a nursing home, we have to drain her accounts. So basically, all we could do is take out stuff for her funeral expenses and just money for the lawyer to take care of all the final paperwork. Um, and I always say that you know how well you're loved when you see who shows up at your funeral. I was thinking about my grandma, when my dad's mom, when I was 11, she died, and that rocked my world. I mean, it was the only time I ever saw my dad cry, ever. 93 years. Only time I ever saw him cry was at my grandma's funeral. I cried. We all cried. It was an open casket. No, my dad did not come to the funeral. And I think it was actually his new wife that said something to me. I don't even know how I ran into her, but she told me, that she thought it wasn't a good idea. It wasn't a good idea that my dad would come. And that's fair. I think that's probably the smart move, because there would be a lot of questions asked by a lot of relatives of my mom about what happened. Because all of my mom's family is back east. The ones that are still alive, they're all in Pennsylvania in various parts. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Women lives on recruit mode for real. Let's see. Women just cheat on you. Final Destination. Women live on. Women make. I don't know. If things like OnlyFans are easy money, I don't want that easy money. No, thank you. Women make easy followers. Yeah. I guess. I don't know what this is about. I'm just following the chat here, so I'm just seeing what people are writing here. But I always think that whoever shows up, when you die and people come to your funeral, that's how you know what kind of person they were. My mom, she died in a nursing home. 30 people from the nursing home came to her funeral, along with her brother and their family. I mean, that tells me so much about what kind of person she was. And I mean, it's life's cruel joke, right? My mom dies within years after the divorce, and my dad is still living. It's such a sadistic joke now. Let's see. Did I expect my dad to go if his new wife went out of her way to talk to you about it? There was a lot of talk and speculation between family members on whether, and friends on whether he would show up. I'm glad he did. I think he would have been berated by so many family members and friends. They would have so many questions. So I didn't think he wanted that smoke. So I think it was better. Let's see. Live Young, Die Young, Mike Posner, Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Mike Tyson. Okay. Just listing off names now. Okay. Even planning a funeral is weird, because that was part of the money that we had to drain from my mom's account so she could get into a nursing home, which is also such a sick joke in this world. to go actually make funerals for somebody. You're planning somebody's death in a weird way. And it is the weirdest feeling in the world. It's like she actually wanted to be buried. She didn't want to be cremated. We were trying to decide on what funeral box to put her in. I mean, she's dead. How do we know? What do we think? As far as um, when you die, do you care what happens to your body? I'm probably, if I don't get a will put together, I don't care what they do with it. They can put it in the ground. They can, light me on fire. I don't care. I'll be dead. What's it gonna matter? You should honor my mom by letting your dad learn how much you guys didn't need him. I think I think I don't even know if my brother talks to my dad. I know they're a lot closer in distance. I'm probably 150 miles away from him, and my brother is probably 6. He's probably 6 miles away. Mike Tyson was married 3 times. God bless him. Let's see. Life is death and death is life. Well, I guess if you believe in reincarnation, that's probably true. Nothing matters. That has been a very big existential thought about whether nothing matters. Here's the way I've looked at life. I just decided that I'm just going to live it. Whatever happens. I don't know what's going to happen to me, a week, a month, a year, 10 years from now. I have no idea what my life is going to look like. It may not change. It may change radically. I have no idea. Life is meaningless anyway. I don't know. I don't know about that. I just decided, whatever it is, it's like F it. I don't really care. I'm just going to live my life how I live my life. Yeah. And if something good comes out of it, great. If everybody hates me, I don't care. What is it going to matter? Exactly. Live in the present moment. Because that's all you got. Because you don't, you can't go back to yesterday and you don't know what tomorrow is. Live in relationship. Yeah. Haters gonna hate. Yeah. They really are gonna hate. It's just the way it goes. They're just gonna hate. Let's see. Man, I feel like I've covered a lot of topics that I wasn't expecting to cover tonight, but I don't care. I'm old. I don't care. You get to a point where what you think matters doesn't really matter. The things that are important don't matter so much when you get older. You just go on with your life, because we are all. Who did I hear say that? Halsey, the singer. I believe she said something like, "You're only the main character in your own story. You're not the main character in anybody else's story." Caring is gay. I think that depends on who you ask. I do take the opportunity to try and be nice in small ways because I feel like that's just part of my MO and something I learned from my mom because she was always a giving person. So that was always very important to me to keep doing something nice, even if it's just little things. I can't afford to do big things, but I can do small things for people. Eating healthy matters. Yeah, absolutely. If I would eat now what I did when I was 18, I used to have, when I was working my pizza job at 18, I would have a large pizza and a 6-pack of Mountain Dew a day, every time I worked. Talk about sugar hell. That's probably like 400 grams of sugar or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, she's probably giving all the time. Yeah, she was. It and that's also another thing. Back then, it was a way different life, because my dad worked and my mom was home. It's way different. It's not like it is now. I mean, how many families have both parents working? I mean, it's probably like 60, 70% now. Then it was probably 10%, because you could live on one salary. You can't live on one salary now. Nowhere. Let's see. Women got it easier. I don't know about that. I mean, could you imagine being stared at? If you're a hot woman, could you imagine being stared at all the time? I mean, when you're when you're looking, back and to the left or something, and somebody's, staring at you. It's like, how could you live like that? I mean, that would drive me crazy if somebody was constantly staring at me. Women got no manners. I don't know about that. I think the right women have right manners. Let's see. God made women for us men. Oh, I don't know about that. Let's see. I don't get invited to play Final Destination. Probably not. Of course, I think, honestly, I think women enjoy the attention they get from other women more than it. Because I think when women dress up, I think they're doing it for their girlfriends. They're not doing it for guys. I think the only time they ever do it for guys is if they want something from them. Women don't wash their hair. That's not true. The funny thing is that I think I've learned so much about women by having to shop for them. The amount of things that I've had to buy for women when I go shopping. I've had to buy, makeup. I've had to buy, various types of shampoo. I've had to buy all sorts of I mean, first of all, the amount of makeup that is out there, mind-boggling. I mean, I've had to go to places like Sephora and Ulta Beauty and even just go into Walgreens. Tens of thousands of products. How do women know what to use? I mean, I was watching a woman check out and they had a couple of kinds of lotion, and I'm thinking, how did you know to get these kinds of lotion? How did you know? How did you know? But I've had to buy all this makeup. I've had to buy tampons. I've had to buy, I don't know if I should talk about this, but okay, I've had to buy Plan Bs for women. And it's actually more convenient and probably better for their privacy if they're getting it delivered than if, well, good for you. I'm not gay, and I do still love women. So gays just love women differently. Yeah, I mean, all these things I bought for women, I have a much better understanding of what they're having to deal with on a day in, day out basis. I mean, women probably have to spend an hour or two to get dolled up, to look nice, to go out. Guys don't have to do that. Guys take what? 15 minutes to get ready? It's a shower and you're out the door. What's that? I kind of fancy you two can't lie. Let's see. Women lives are super, super easy. I think women go through phases where it's super easy, and I think when they get older, I think it's not so easy. I think when women are in their teens and 20s and 30s, it's way easier. But when you get into your 40s and 50s, that's when you start feeling some traction. That's when you start feeling a little, you don't it's not quite so easy to maneuver through life unless you're married. I mean, let's see. Can I take you out platonically and we see where it goes from here? I'm not dating anybody right now. And it kills me too because I have women flirting with me right now, and it bugs the crap out of me because I'm trying to do these other things. Do I don't know if I wanna be I just don't know if I'd wanna get back into a relationship. I might date. I might date. I don't know. But I don't think I could see myself getting back into a long-term relationship, at least not for a while. Maybe somebody changes my mind. I don't know. I don't think so. I think dating is challenging. I think it's even more challenging now than it is, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Before the apps, it was actually probably easier to meet men or women. I think once the dating app started, all over. It's all over. Let's see. Can I be the other things that you try to do? Oh, hilarious. Hilarious. You hate masking. What's that? What are you talking about when you say you hate masking? Um, that's so funny. Is that some UK or Aussie? I can't tell. UK on top. There we go. Let's see. What time is it in the UK? Are you just waking up? It's got to be wake up time now. I'm thinking about what time it is here. It's probably I haven't even looked at the clock. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the live screen and it's telling me it's been an hour 45 right now. So it's probably 2 here, and it's probably 5 on the East Coast, and probably what, 9 in the UK? Was it about 9 in the UK? 10, 11, something like that? It's probably like 10 or 11 in the morning there. So they're probably, when will I sleep? Well, I should be sleeping now, but I'm kind of just wired up right now. So, I mean, because I work in like 5 hours. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get some sleep. I might have to have an extra energy drink today just to be able to get, because it's going to be a long day of work. Um, let's see. You're in Qatar. Wow. Like Doha or something like that. I think Doha is the only place I know in Qatar. Um, I've actually had people watch my ASMR stuff in Kazakhstan, of all places. I also noticed that a lot of the ASMR content that I put together are being watched by people in Asia, in various parts of Asia, which is interesting. Abu Dhabi, wow, Dubai, there we go. Got weak eyesight? Let's see. I will surely subscribe you. Well, appreciate that. I'm actually kind of I'm actually surprised at how easy talking this has been. Let's see. Yeah, well, let's see. I remember I was using AI to try and figure out if it's cheaper to live in the Middle East. And it's like certain things, yes, certain things, no. I was surprised at certain types of taxes that people in that part of the country, um, have to pay. They have way less taxes than, let's see. Men work harder. Men built the world. Women don't like seeing men happy. I think I'm almost convinced that my ex-wife was like that. It's like, I think she didn't like that I was satisfied with my work and that she was home and miserable because she wasn't working. Let's see. Let's see. I like the countryside more than the city. I grew up in the country. In fact, I grew up in a town. Well, I kind of grew up between a town and a city. The town had 600 people in it. The city that was nearby was about 50,000 people. So it's so funny because if I opened up my window, my neighbor, one house, let's see, across the street, one house over had chickens, and they would go off at like 5:30 in the morning. Crazy funny to me. Afraid you'll die alone. I get that. That sucks. I think I've gotten to a point where I don't know if I care if I die alone. It sucks not being it sucks not dating, but I would rather be by myself than date the wrong person. Let's see. We come alone, we die alone. That's the truth. Listen to, I don't even know what that is. On the West Coast, we're 8 hours behind, so it's 10:15 now in the UK. Okay, fair. That's not bad. So that tells me now it's like 2:15 in the morning where I'm at. I'm glad somebody told me because I hadn't looked at a clock since I started the live feed. Life begins where 4 ends? I don't know how to take that. Let's see. Traveling is so underrated. You know what? I haven't traveled outside of the US in a long time. I'm trying to think of it because I've gone to Mexico and I've gone to Canada. Mexico, wow. Where did I go? When I went to church, we had like one of these trips where we'd help orphanages in other countries, and I was with a group. We went down through Ensenada. That's where I ended up. It was Ensenada in Mexico. And we were helping kids with, their orphanages. So, I mean, it was I was 17 when I went. And then I haven't been back to Canada in a long time. That's a whole different funny Canada story too, because this was my first foray into online dating. And when there was less opportunity to locally online date, let's see, do I smoke? No, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do weed, no cigarettes, no vaping, no nothing. In fact, it's funny you mentioned about all that stuff because I actually didn't grow up around anybody that drank. This was such a weird circumstance. My mom didn't drink, my dad didn't drink, my brother didn't drink, my dad's family didn't drink, none of them. So because of that, I never grew up drinking at all. So I've never had a drink. I think the only time I've ever had alcohol is in like an extract in a cake, or if somebody's rubbing alcohol on something. But I've never knowingly ingested any sort of alcohol ever. Am I lost? Let's see. My face is so blurry. Well, it's because I'm in a parking lot. And I haven't turned on any lights. I tried to park like where some overhead lights are. You can probably see some of it off to the side. You can probably see kind of the outline of my face. That's probably it. Samsung over Apple. I have a Google phone, so close. I have a Pixel 9a, so I never got into using Apples. People that have Apples swear by it. Good on you. It's just not my thing. My life is very good. I don't know about that. I can honestly tell you that I don't think my life is that great. I mean, when you spend most of your time working and sleeping and eating, and at best, you probably have 3 or 4 hours left a day to yourself. I don't know. Maybe that's okay. I don't know. I mean, I can't compare to anybody else in the world. You're gonna call the police where? Okay. Why am I don't even know why are you there, what that means. So you got a Samsung Galaxy S23. I think I had an S21 before I got my current phone. There's something very good there to your life is beautiful and pleasant, it seems. Um, in recent time, I mean, especially in the past couple of weeks, I have radically changed how I do things. I used to work 9 to 6 every day, 7 days a week. I decided that I wanted to spend a little more time working on some YouTube stuff and other projects. And I decided that I could work the right 50 hours a week and make just as much as I did when I was working 63. And so far, that's working out pretty well. I work dinner during the week and I work all day on the weekends. Let's see. My dad said if I keep, oh, ha ha, very funny. Get rid of PlayStation. Oh, whatever. Can you go back inside before I? Why? I lived in a car for years. I mean, me chatting in a car, not that big a deal. Trust me, not that big a deal. And if you've if there's anybody that's ever spent any time living in their car, they know that cops, they I'll tell you, it's one of the weirder experiences, when you're sleeping in your car and you get that rattle from a police issue flashlight on your window when you're sleeping in a parking lot will scare the crap out of you. That will scare the crap out of you. Because then they start asking you a bunch of questions and they start seeing if I'm okay. They're making sure that I'm not drunk. I mean, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. Sorry about that. I think I had a minor disconnection here. It's it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and a policeman is rapping on my window. How awake do you expect me to feel? I probably acted like I was a little, off kilter. Let's see, dude. It's just weird. Just go now before. What would DHS do? What would DHS do anyway? You're tired of life at 28. Well, dude, you got a long way to go. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, this is the first Trump chat of the day. That's funny. Is it hard to breathe if you sleep inside the car? No. I did that. I think the hardest thing, and if you read any Reddits on anything like urban car life or anything like that, they'll tell you that the hardest thing to do is to just get comfortable. It's hard to sleep more than 2 to 3 to 4 hours at a time. If you can sleep 8 hours in your car, you are amazing. It's because you don't know if a cop is going to rap on your door. You don't know if security is going to rap on your door, depending on where you're at. I mean, I've poked around on the urban car living sites. People had it way worse than I did. And I mean, when you get people rapping on your doors, let's see, let's see. Okay. I mean, do what you gotta do. Most of them have vans and hatchbacks. I have actually seen, I remember I went to a park and I sat in the parking lot, because I had a break, and I know there was somebody that was sleeping in their SUV. I could tell by the way they're set up. Let's see. It's very nice to live in America. I don't know how that compares to the rest of the world. I think it's nice. I think we all have our own definition of what is good and what is nice. I don't think we really know. I mean, people in other countries, they have a different lifestyle and they might like their life the way it is and find it nice. I don't know. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to Asia. I haven't gotten my passport. I know if I had to fly, I would have to get my enhanced ID, and I haven't gotten that yet. Let's see. It's good money, but it's a police state. I don't know if police state is even the right word. I think it's a government entity, though. It's always greener on the other side of the fence. Sure. I mean, we can look at somebody else's life and think, you know what? It's so much better than mine. And we don't even have to cross the world to feel that. You can look at somebody, and I see this all the time because one of the places I go to is right by one of these private schools. And I was looking at how much this particular private school cost. It was almost my year's salary for one person to go to this private school. I mean, that kind of tells you the haves and have-nots right there. Let's see. I've been to 17 countries. South Korea is the best, but you need a bachelor degree. I think South Korea would be kind of interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would be like to actually go outside the North America. American life is very beautiful. I mean, you can keep saying that. I think it just depends, I'm sure that parts of America are great, parts of America stink. It's just a matter of, just a matter of which parts of the country you're in. Women of Korea are beautiful. Yes, they are. And probably that's why you always hear the word K-pop. Because these are, what is the song right now? Golden. I can't remember the group, the South Korean K-pop group that's doing it. But yeah, they look great. There's a lot of around here. There is definitely a lot of Asians around here. A lot of people from India. There's a lot of people from Japan, China, Korea. I mean, Middle East, all of it. Let's see. If you have money, it's good anywhere. Yes, that is truer words couldn't be said. If you have money, it's good anywhere. This is something that bugs me a little bit because and it's not necessarily that I hate the person, but I think some foreigners feel like that they don't have to learn the language that they're in. In fact, I was at a grocery store today. I was in line, and there was, I believe, somebody from I think it was somewhere kind of Eastern European, could have been Czech, could have been something like that. See, but you need let's see. And none of them spoke any sort of English. And I think you have to learn a little. I mean, no one's expecting you to learn all the English dialect, because there's so much slang in the American culture. No one expects you to learn, learn 100 basic words and you're good. If I was going to another country where they spoke a different language, I would expect to learn some phrases enough that if I tried to order something or go to the bathroom or something in another country, I'd want to know how to ask them in their own, in their own language. Yeah, I think learning the basics is great. I think no one is expecting you to learn, how to, no one's expecting you to learn, the entire English language. If I was going to China, I would want to learn a few basic phrases. If I was going to Japan, same. Um, Even going to the UK or going to Australia, it's a whole different slang. So you have to, what may be offensive here may not be there, and vice versa. Let's see. My English is very good. I learned for a lot of Korean. I find that a lot of people from out of country watch a lot of like American shows, and that's where they learn their English from. Duolingo is very useful. Yeah, I hear Babbel's very good. But I think a lot of them like watching, English TV, like American TV. I hear that a lot, from people that are from out of country. They watch American TV and pick up some stuff and then go from there. Um, America is very big, and there are many different people who love America a lot. Yeah, it's true. American sports as well. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's so funny when I'm watching like Spanish soccer when I'm picking up an order at like a Mexican joint, because they're usually running some sort of um La Liga or something like that. And I'll pick up a phrase or two in Spanish while I'm sitting there waiting for my order to be ready. So I just find that kind of funny. And America is big. I mean, it's what, 3,300 miles from one end to the other. I mean, I don't even know how far I mean, it's kind of where Europe has such a distinct advantage, is because everything's closer. Even if you went from any of the Nordic countries into Spain or France or something like that, it's probably dramatically closer to fly somewhere else or to take a train somewhere in Europe than it is here. Let's see. UFC, NBA. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure UFC. No doubt UFC is. I mean, look at all the champions. I don't know if we have a current UFC champion that's American. I don't think so. I think a lot of Dagestani, maybe maybe is Kamsat from another. I mean, I know he trains in Sweden, but I think he was originally from that part of the world. Um, yeah, there's not many or any. I mean, was it like maybe like Kayla Harrison? Maybe. I think that's about the only American champion in the UFC right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's see. Bilal was the last American champion. Was Bilal American? I thought he was from somewhere else too. Maybe. Man, I'm trying to think before that. Geez. Vince McMahon, is that you? Ha ha ha. Very funny. I'm trying to think of the last time I watched WWE. I think the last time I watched WWE when it was still called WWF. That tells you how long it's been. I haven't watched AEW or WWF or any of that, but I'm familiar. He was born in Chicago. Oh, really? Okay. Learn something new every day. I didn't know. Had no idea. Melting pot of multiple languages, so we can't speak every tongue but American. Yeah. Let's see. Sean Strickland. Yeah, that's true. Sean O'Malley. Yeah, but they both lost. So, um, let's see. It's been ages. Yeah. You can support freedom and still be American. Yeah. America is probably still one of the few places in the world where you can actually speak out against your government and not have something bad happen to you. I mean, you hear so many you see so many stories. Yeah, but John Jones is even gone. I mean, he decided to leave on its own, so that's different. Um, but yeah, I think that there's a lot less freedoms for people in other countries. I don't know that for certain, but I always get that feeling every time I hear something that you know people have a lot less freedom to speak out against their government in other countries. Talk to my dad. No, I'm okay with that. Let's see. It was very nice in the old days. There used to be many old friends. I'm trying to think of the last time I had a best friend. Wow. I mean, that's been decades. That's been decades. It's crazy. Let's see. You get arrested in some countries if you speak against the government. Yeah. I mean, even like comedians. I mean, comedians get fined, I believe, in Canada and I believe in Britain. I think there's some stuff about social media posts that if you speak out, then you get fined or you might get somebody a call into your house. Yes, 2000s and 1990s America was peak America. I think the products made in the 1990s and 2000s were peak America. That's for sure. I mean, most of the stuff made now, they're all throwaway stuff now. I mean, I remember growing up and we had the same fridge from the time I was born to the time the house was sold when the divorce happened. 30 years. That fridge worked like a champ. Yeah. Now, I think if you bought a freezer now or a fridge now, I wouldn't expect either one of those to last 30 years. If I went to Home Depot or wherever and looked at a fridge and bought a fridge, no way I expect that thing to last 30 years. I don't even expect current cars that have been made in the last 10 years to last 10 to 15 years. It's why people like older Toyotas, and older Hondas, like late 90s Hondas and late 90s Toyotas. I mean, I had a 99 Camry. It was one of my delivery vehicles. That thing was a champ. I bought it with 230,000 miles on it. And let's see, bro, stop calling me. Very funny. Very funny. I don't call anybody. In fact, I think the only time I use the phone is when I have to call customers to ask them questions. Otherwise, I barely use the phone part of my phone. Life just seems so much easier in the old days. Now you either work 70 to 100 hours a week or you don't work at all. That's probably true. That's probably true. I mean, I look at all these guys who multi-app. They carry 2 and 3 phones, and they look like they're stressed out of their mind. I mean, who wants to do that? I tried multi-apping. If any of you ever know what multi-apping is, if you don't know, ask somebody. They'll tell you. It's multi-apping is basically if let's say you're working for Grubhub or something like that, and you have another phone that you have a DoorDash thing on, and then you have another phone that has Amazon Flex on it. And these people are trying to get orders all the time with all 3 of their phones. I don't know how they do it. I don't know why you would do it that way. That just stresses me out. I work for one company and that's it. I multi-apped for a couple of years now. No way. There's no way I would do that. Let's see. I remember growing up hearing people say the good old days. Now I say it. Yep. And people 20 years from now will say that about our generation. I mean, that's just how it works. We always think we're the generation, and then somebody else comes along and it's like they're the generation. It's so funny. What the hell? Oh, I think somebody's catching a ride with somebody. Let's see. I used to multi-app for Uber and DoorDash at the same time. Did it for 6 months. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I don't begrudge people. I just think that it's a stressing thing to do to multi-app. Let's see. Maybe people in the space age will be jealous of us. I don't know. Maybe. I think every generation looks at every other generation before them and thinks, if I would have done this, or I wish wouldn't have done this because they did this. I mean, who knows? Who knows what, you know, I don't know what somebody that was born 20 years before me thinks about my generation and vice versa. I don't know how I feel. Well, I have certain feelings about the generation ahead of me that's 20 to 25 years younger. Um, Holy cow. This live stream's been running 2 hours. Damn. I'll just keep going. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever. Um, you can do, yeah, you can. People don't. I think I think people do it because they're afraid of what'll happen. Because maybe, they get caught, working between the apps and they get hit with a violation of some sort, or they get deactivated. Will everything ever be the same? No. Nothing will ever be the same ever because life changes so much. I mean, I think about just the technology related, you know, to my life. I mean, the first phone that I remember was a corded phone that you actually had to put your finger in the number and dial back and forth and dial back and forth. You didn't even have buttons yet for phones. And then went to buttons with regular phones, and then you went to cordless phones, and then you went to pagers. Oh yeah. Old enough to remember pagers. My brother actually worked for a pager company. It's hilarious. Um, Once Earth is gone, yes, after billions of years from now, yeah. Yeah, we don't know when Earth is going to end. It could, and this is kind of why you just kind of have to live your life because you don't know what's going to happen, you know, an hour from now, a week from now, a year from now. No one knows. No one has any idea of what life is going to look like. I mean, if you thought about a year ago, could you remember what the most important news story of the day was? No way. I mean, I don't think I could remember a news story that happened 6 months ago. See, we need to save money to play old school video games. Oh yes, this is this is another thing from being old school. When I was, and I feel guilty. I feel so guilty. Um, I remember, um, I would skip school with my brother, and we would go to these old school arcades when I was, probably in middle school. I mean, I remembered games, I remembered like Cyberball, and I remembered like the old karate game and those funny sounds that they would make. I mean, those kind of games would be so antiquated by today's standards. Let's see. Um, will a 401k be used? I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I was going to do a live chat about all the layoffs going on with Amazon and Microsoft and Meta, which I think it's about 16,000 right now between the three, but I think it's actually supposed to get worse I think what they're going to do is they're going to not renew contracts for some of these Amazon workers. And of course, Amazon came out with talking about how they're going to replace a lot of their warehouse workers with robots. So we have that coming. Let's see. At this rate, groceries will be 1,000 a week. Well, I spend about 120 a week, so it's not terrible yet. You know what? I think I'm finally starting to get a little groggy, and I still have to drive to where I'm at. So, thank you. This was a lot of fun. I did this now for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I ate up probably about 4 gigabytes of data on my phone, and it was totally worth it. I appreciate all of you that were checking in, but I am out of here. Have a good night or day or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much.